let's talk about sugar and why is sugar killing your energy, but not only your energy, also understanding where sugar comes from, what it does to the body, and how to actually replace it or what to do about it. So since I was a kid, I was really addicted to sugar. I My grandma always handed me some candies, and I was really addicted. Like, I was consuming a lot of sugar, and there's a study that actually shows that 50% of children by 20 years from now, or I think 10, I don't remember, 10 or 20 years, are going to have diabetes. And that's a really hard problem. It's being one of the main causes of death. So it's essentially something to take care about. So the thing with sugar is that we 100 years ago, just 100 years ago, we were consuming just we were consuming around 20 kilograms of sugar per year per person. Right now we are consuming over 100 kilos, which is a lot of increase in only 100 years. So what happened and what it does to the body? So the first thing that we have to understand about how sugar affects the body is the blood sugar spike. So what is this? So when we eat sugar, what happens to the body is that we have this increase in our glucose, right? So when our glucose spike, and it does this, so let's say this is like the normal balance that you want to have in terms of glucose. I'm gonna put here like normal. This is high and this is low. So what happens when you have a normal glucose balance? You have basically, when you have a normal, you have this, right? You have an stable energy. So this represents your energy. But when you have spikes, this is a spike, this is another, you have these glucose spikes in your bloodstream. So what happens is, as you know, the main source of energy to the brain is actually sugar, glucose. And glucose, it comes from sugar. So yes, glucose is the main component, the main source of energy to your brain. But glucose not only comes from sugar, it also comes with carbs. So what happens is, our body is intelligent to assimilate sugar in the right amount from the food we eat to give the brain the energy that it needs, right? So it's not that if we consume more sugar, we're gonna have more energy. Yes, it happened after the moment we consume it, but what happened after is we have a drop of energy. And that basically happened to you after you eat sugar, like a couple of hours ago. You fell asleep and you want to go to sleep. So what happened is that single carbs and sugary foods cause glucose to rise quickly. So the brain is flooded with energy, and you feel temporarily high, focused, you feel like alert. But what happens when you have that spikes and that sugar that is basically easily consumed, your body actually releases insulin, right? So what happened with the insulin response? So what happened with insulin is basically, just think about it as the thing that is the regulator to how much blood, how much glucose enter into your bloodstream. So your pancreas releases the insulin to basically bring the glucose levels down. So the body, after when it often reacts to the glucose spikes, it pulls too much sugar out of the blood. So after that, you feel that energy crash, basically. And what happens when you have constantly insulin response? What happens when you have constant insulin response? What happens is that your body starts to basically create resistance to the insulin. So probably that is where you heard this term of insulin resistant. So when your bodies have high resistance, insulin resistance, less glucose enter to your muscles, and basically your body starts to saving and to enter the bloodstream all that glucose, which your body is not prepared to take that amount of glucose. So explain it like briefly, the insulin is the thing that regulates your blood sugar, okay? When you eat it from normal foods like whole foods carb, like for example potatoes or sweet potatoes, honey, or for example fruits, okay? But when you eat refined sugar, your body creates insulin response, and when you start to taking so much refined sugar that assimilates fast into the body, you're gonna start creating insulin response, which is gonna create that your body is not smart enough to actually distribute the insulin and the sugar into your body effectively. So your body start to taking insulin into the bloodstream as an energy, and that is where you have really high sugar, and you don't have any, like your insulin is not measuring how much sugar enters into your bloodstream and how much sugar is saved, or is basically it lower the amount of sugar into your bloodstream. So what happened with this is that you basically start to having chronic fatigue, you start to having problems to actually feel good and to actually have a stable energy, because you have all those crashes of energy. Like you feel good and you feel bad, and this is something really normal when you eat, for example, a breakfast that is high in sugar. So after a high sugary breakfast, you're gonna feel like you just want to go to sleep after the breakfast. So some symptoms that are normal for this are, for example, mood swings or craving carbs in the late night, which is something that happens when we eat high sugary, refined sugary foods. So, for example, if you eat, and that is the debate that many people say, okay, so if you eat fruits, why, or honey, why is not that the same that actually sugar, or not refined sugar? Well, the thing is, when you eat a mango, let's put a mango here as an example. See how beautiful my mango is. And we have refined sugar. Let's put the cubes of sugar here. This is not the same, okay? Because here we can have, for example, 100 grams of sugar, which is, I don't know how much exactly that is, but let's say it's 100 calories. Okay, and here we have the mango, and here's basically no vitamin, no minerals, anything. So the mango, let's say in 100 grams of mango, let's say we have 75 calories, but we have really high vitamins, micronutrients. So this is the part that this is missing. When you eat a donut, for example, you're not having the vitamins and the minerals from the fruit. Okay, you are eating just the sugar, and the sugar doesn't contain any minerals. So that is what happened. You are eating more, you're gonna crave more. Also, this contains fiber. This actually, after you eat this, you're gonna be full. But when you eat this, you're not gonna, like, you can eat like 3 mangoes, but you cannot eat like 15 because it's too much. You're gonna be full. But when you start eating sugar, you yes can for sure eat 20 donuts if you want to, because you're gonna crave for more. Your system, your dopamine receptors are gonna be so high that are gonna want more, are gonna crave more, and you can eat as much as you can. And that's the problem with sugar, that you're gonna crave more and you don't have any, like, the main component that is regulating how much sugar enters your bloodstream is actually your insulin, but your insulin is unregulated, okay, because of the amount of sugar we are consuming. So the thing in the brief history of sugar is that sugar actually comes from New Zealand, right? So in New Zealand was the only place where we could find the sugar. I don't remember how to say this name. Let me check here 1 second. It's the basically white hair. Let me check. The sugar cane. Yeah, sorry, my English is not perfect, but the sugar canes were only in New Zealand. So in New Zealand, I'm talking about hundreds of years ago, what happened is when we started distributing like sugar to New Zealand, from New Zealand to Europe, we started having some more cane sugar in other places like Europe, and it was actually really high in value. Right now it's one of the biggest poisons, like everything contains sugar and it's really cheap. But back then it was something really valuable. Actually, it was like one of the main components to do sculptures or statues was sugar. Okay, so rich people used to use sugar to do sculptures or statues. So after that, what happened is we're starting producing, because it was complicated to produce, like a complicated system. But right now it's so easy to produce sugar that right now it doesn't have the same value, and it's actually poisoning ourselves. And that's why you need to reduce your sugar consumption. So to do this, I'm going to give you some practical fixes that you can do to actually, I'm going to put here practical fixes. So the practical fixes that you can do is basically have the points here. So the first one is balance your meals, which means that your meals. So balance your meals, meaning that you need to, you cannot have as a breakfast only sugary cereals or donuts. If you are doing that, you know for sure that you should not be doing that. You are doing it anyways. But balance your meals. In every meal you should have protein. Why protein? Because it's the easiest way to get full easier and add healthy fats. So what I recommend for a breakfast is actually using healthy fats and protein. So for example, you can eat eggs and avocado. You can add some bagel. The thing with carbs in the breakfast is you should be so careful in terms of in the breakfast. If you want to keep your energy high, I recommend only having carbs in the breakfast only if you are training in the morning. But why? Because in the morning you are using, if you are trying to gain weight or to maintain, if you are trying to lose weight, I recommend you only having protein and fats, because you're gonna use the glucose from your fat, so your body is gonna start using that fat to actually produce the energy that your body is lacking. But if you don't want to lose weight, if you actually want to grow muscle mass, or you want to just feel good, maintain your physique and have high energy, what I recommend you is to balance your carbs in the morning. So only if you train in the morning, because you're gonna use glucose for your workout, which is the main source of energy that you're gonna use, then what you want to do is just take one bagel, or take some honey, or don't take too much bread, for example, or too much sugar. Actually, in the breakfast, don't take refined sugar like donuts and all that. Don't eat that. If you're gonna eat something sweet, eat, for example, honey. Honey is a good, it's actually very high in vitamins, minerals. You can use honey, or you can just eat some fruit, for example, which is also good. But don't overeat carbs in the morning, because you're gonna have that spike of glucose that if you train, yes, you're not gonna have it because you're gonna use it. But maintain your energy just stable and your glucose levels stable by having a balanced meals. Okay? So naked carbs. So when you eat naked carbs, what happened is the same that I was talking about here, that you can eat donuts and you can eat 50 donuts and you're not gonna even feel it. So don't eat naked carbs, like any carbs, like cereals, like anything, because when you eat naked carbs, you're gonna eat as like you're not gonna control yourself. So don't even try. Don't try to eat naked carbs. That's the second point. The third point here is walk after meals. So that is the same component that I was talking here in the breakfast. You want to walk because you're gonna use energy. So you're gonna actually feel and still awake, and you're gonna use the glucose for that walk. So for basically when you walk, your blood, like your glucose blood levels, are gonna come back to normal. So that is what you want to do if you want to feel high energy. The fourth point is improve your sleep and stress management. So I have a video. Give me one sec. Sleep and I'm gonna put stress. I have a full video where I talk about burnout, and I'm talk more deeply about the stress and what it causes stress. But it's actually like mainly stress. It comes to what do you do, what activities do you do that stress your nervous system. Your nervous system is the main system in your body that actually is affected and control your stress. So every time you are stressed, the main part of your body, the main system affected is your nervous system. Remember, your nervous system is the most, actually every system is important, but it's one of the most important, because when you work out, you are stressing your nervous system. So if you feel tired in your nervous system, or you feel fried, your nervous system is fried, you're not going to have a good workout. You're not going to have that drive that you want to do the things, because you are stressed. So it's the same with basically what you do with your workouts, with your work. So for example, if you have resistance to do the work that you are doing, that's why a lot of people who work in something that they don't like to, they feel stressed. So when you feel high in stress, you're gonna accumulate that, and in one moment you're gonna burn out. And I have a whole video talking about that. You can go check it out in my profile, or I'm gonna just leave it alone here. But that is what you want. Essentially, you want to improve your sleep and your stress. And I have a full video where I talk about sleep. It's not a full video, actually. It's the 7 things that drop your testosterone, the 7 habits that you need to avoid to drop your testosterone, and I talk about how to improve your sleep. And basically the last one is, we have the 5 here, which is retrain your metabolism. I'm not the best at writing, as you can see. Metabolism. So what does that mean? What is retraining your metabolism mean? Basically, it means that you want to, so when you train your metabolism to use carbs as the main source of energy, if you try to burn fat mainly, what you want to do is try to fast. Do fasting for at least 1 week, so your body cleans up, and you're gonna start using the energy not from the carbs, but actually from other sources of energy, as the fat reserves that your body contains. So do fasting, practice fasting, like not eating anything in the morning. That's the best way of fasting. Like eat, for example, at 9 p.m. And the other day don't eat until midday. So in midday you eat, you have your dinner, and yeah, basically that's it. You're gonna start to getting used to live without that constant. It also is good to reset your dopamine receptors, because when you are eating high sugar, what actually high sugar actually also causes is that you are gonna crave for more cheap dopamine. So it's normal that after you eat a donut, you want other donut, and after you eat other donut, you want other one, and after that you want to scroll on Instagram, and after that you want to just binge on Netflix and keep watching more movies. But because it's like a dopamine spike, it's easy dopamine, and you're gonna crave that easy dopamine. So the best way to do that is to reset your metabolism, which is also gonna reset. So basically your metabolism is your inner system, all the systems that are involved in your inner system, and that is where the dopamine are included. Your energy sources, like the glucose, are gonna also restart. So do a reset and start to retrain your metabolism. So I hope I didn't get too technical on this. I don't like to be so technical, but I like to explain things logically. So if you like it, drop a like. If you have any recommendations on how would you like to see the videos, also like if you want me to be like more dynamic or more practical, or I don't know, any recommendation, I read you in the comments. And as I told you, I have a full video where I explain the 7 changes to peak your testosterone, so you can peak in your physique, in your health, and how do you look and feel about yourself. And also you can subscribe for next video. The video that I mentioned, you have it in the link in the description. And yeah, thank you. See you in the next video.